Hello, welcome to Should I Buy This Game? Featuring White Castle Duel. My name is Christine, and in this video I'll give you an overview of how the game is played, and then share a few things we may like or dislike about the game to help you decide if you want to add the White Castle Duel to your collection. This is the game, the White Castle Duel, and as the name suggests, it is White Castle for two people. Now, if you've played the base game of White Castle, you know there's the bridge with the dice and you're picking it, and it's a very thinky game. Whereas the duel has sort of simplified it, you still get that feeling of trying to make moves that will do multiple things, but in a much easier game board. So on your turn, or in your personal area, you have 6 lanterns, 2 orange, 2 black, 2 white. And in the first round is the outgoing, and we're going to be placing these lanterns on the board. And so you will see here are little lanterns. So in this case, if it is white, I can place any color but white to start. So maybe I will take an orange and place it here. Then going forward, more people can go here. It can be 3 high, but it can only be the next person can either play black or white and then the final black or white. So each one can be a stack of 3, 1 of each color lantern. So what happens when you place it? So if I was to place it here, I would be able to buy one of these influence cards. In this case, it would cost me 2 coins or seals. And as an instant bonus, I'd be able to pay one of my seals to flip 2 cards. And what's flipping cards means is if I had this card already in my zone, you can see here there's an image. It sort of tells you what's on the back. By flipping the card, you now have that image, and we're going to be using those for scoring. And I'll talk about scoring a bit later in the game. So it's important to collect these cards and flip them if you want to get a big score in this game. Now you get to do both items. So one would be doing the card. The other would be visiting the garden. So here's the garden. You can pay either 2 food or 5 food, and you put one of your tokens you have in one of these spots. So if I was to place it here, I would instantly get 2 coins, and down here you see there's images. So I could have a flag as part of my images, and that again goes to game end scoring. So the more of these images you can collect, the higher your scores will be. So by putting different of your tokens here, you can even have 2 of the flags and block somebody else from getting it. Or you might have 1 on each. It depends where you go. On this side, it costs 5 food, but you're getting better instant rewards, as well as now you get 2 flags, the bigger fighter, and you get 2 of the origami. So if you can come here, you'll be able to score even more points. And so that would be your turn. You would do things on both sides. So maybe in another future turn, I would go here. This time, I could go into the merchandise area. If you see the boat, it's the merchandise. And over here is the boat. So here you're paying any resource, and you'd be able to get the opportunity to buy an influence card. You'd still have to pay all the prices involved though. Here, if you have 2, you'd be able to get 1 of these tokens. This one has 2 flags that can use for scoring. Some of them have just straight up points as well. And if you do 5 foods, it's the same idea, except now you're going to get 2 of the images. And I think the points is, 7 straight up points as an option. So they're all mixed up. You don't know where they are, but you can come here, trade in your resources to get some of these merchandise. And then on this side, you would just be getting a card again. And this one on the back would have 2 flags. If we were to move here with the white, then it's either getting the card, or here you could activate one of your lanterns. So similar to the main game is you'll have areas here. So each one, so this is mother of pearl and a coin if I was to activate that one. Right now we just have the lead and the food here. But depending which cards you have put here, you would be able to activate it and get all the rewards. Now, say you didn't want to activate that because of whatever reason, you're also able to come to the well at any point, and you can get one resource, one coin or seal, this flipper token, which I'll tell you about, or a point. Now, this token here is great because what it allows you to do, especially later, is if you wanted to do, say you wanted to do the garden, but you weren't able to because of how everything was placed, like maybe there were 3 tokens here already. With that token, you could swap out tiles however you want, so it's positioned. This is really beneficial more in the second stage because in the first stage, you really have a lot of opportunity to place your lanterns where you want. So now say we're going to come here because it's orange, maybe I'll use white. So this one allows me to flip 2 of my cards or to go over to the training ground. Again, so this one, it needs lead, 2 lead or 5 lead. You take your tokens, you place it down, you get one of the benefits, either points or a lantern card, which is up here that you're adding to your board. But now you'll be able to score your fighters. So if you have the swords or the other little guy, if you're in this zone, each one is worth 1 point. But if you have 5 lead and put it here, then they're now worth 2 points. Or the fighter guy is worth 2 points if you put him here. And that is this little image here. I think it's Katuna or something it's called. So if you're wanting to score your swords or your little fighter, you have to make sure you get some tokens up in the fighter area. Now the last area to talk about is the castle. So maybe we've put him here. And now we can do the palace. Here's the palace, and here you need the mother of pearl. Each person has a side, so whoever goes first chooses which side. So if they go here, 2 mother of pearls lets you go 1 spot, 5 lets you go 2. So if you went to the first spot, you'd be able to get a coin and a seal. Now say you went 2, the next time it ended up here, you would not get this bonus unless you land on it. Now, this is how you're scoring your flags. So here, it's 1 point per flag. If you can make it up to this zone, it's 2 points per flag. And if you can make it to the top, you score 3 points per flag. So that is trying to get yourself up the palace to score those flags. And then I'll put my last guy just here, just so he's out on the board. Now your opponent is going opposite you, and as I said, you can stack up 3 high. So you're deciding, are you getting cards? Are you moving up the palace? Are you going to the training ground, the garden, or getting merchandise? Or if all else fails, you're going to the well to get one of those bonuses. So the second round of the game is called Return. And this is when we are taking lanterns. And again, it can be any lanterns. It doesn't have to be 2, 2, and 2. Your opponents are all here. So you could take 3 black, 2 orange, 1 white. It really doesn't matter. But you're picking what you want to activate again. So if you wanted to activate these 2, you would pick the white. You would be able to flip 2 cards, visit the training ground, put on a seal. But then the bonus is when you put it here, you also activate what you have in your lantern line there. So I would get a mother of pearl, a coin, and a point if I put the white one there. And then a similar thing, your opponent goes, and then when it's your turn again, maybe you're taking the black, and this one gets the card as well as the ship. And that's when this token comes in handy, because if maybe you wanted to go to the training ground again, but there's nothing left here, you can use one of your seals. You could switch it up, and then now you have access to the training ground. So if I took the white, I'd be able to do the training ground and get a card, put it here again, activating that line of the lantern. So you're So where you're placing it in the first round is going to affect what you get to do in the second, but by having those little tokens, you're still able to manipulate the abilities you are able to do, especially if you're, say, trying to do the castle to get up higher to score the points. So now when it's time to score points, you have the points you got throughout the game. You might have been moving along here. With that lantern, I would get a point each time, so maybe I got a couple points that way. Next, we want to score our flags. So here I have 5 flags. Over here I have 1 more and 2 more, so 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 flags. The flags relate to the palace. I ended up in the ×2. So in this case, I would get 16 points because 8 flags times 2 is 16. Next, if we are wanting to score these, I have 2 of the big guys and 1 of the sword. Over here, I have 1 here, so I score 1 for all of them, so that's 3 points. And then I have 1 here, so I get to score 2 for the big guys. I had 2 of those, so 4 points. So for all that, I would get 7 points. I didn't have any down here, so I wouldn't get any bonuses. Now this card here isn't turned over, so I wouldn't score it. But if I had turned it over, to score origami, you have to have blue times white. Now the trick is the only white origami is over here in the gardens, either here or here. So luckily I got 1 token there. So if I had turned the card over, it would be 1 times 2 of the blue. If I was able to get 2 tokens here, then it would be 2 times the number of blue I had. Or if I had it like this, where 1 was here, 1 was here, there's still 2 white, it would be 2 times 1. So even if I didn't turn the card, I'd still get 2 points based on the origami here. So there's a lot of strategy in thinking, what am I collecting cards? What am I turning over? Making sure that my palace is moving up if I have a lot of flags, or I'm getting a lot of tokens over in these areas if I want to score my origami or the training grounds. So there's all that strategy that you enjoyed in White Castle, but in a much sort of simpler form. And that's the basics of how the game is played. So I really enjoyed playing White Castle Duel because the thing is, White Castle is one of my favorite games, but is so brain crunchy that I like to play solo so I can really take my time. But now with this simplified version, I'm now able to enjoy playing it with Mark and Gemma because even though there's still a lot of strategy, it's just not as brain crunchy as the base game. So the other thing I like is that all these little tokens are interchangeable. So every time you set up the game, there'll be a different token in different areas as well as these. As well as there's more of these cards here that give you the bonuses, and there's more of these cards. So the game changes up each time you play. I like how you have the incoming round and then the return round. And so you sort of learn you have to build up your lantern cards. So during the return round, you're really able to gather those resources and those extra points. I like how the scoring makes you do everything. So if you're wanting to score those flags, you still need to do the palace. If you're wanting to score your swords, you need to do the training ground. If you want the origami, you definitely have to visit the garden. And so it's forcing you sort of to do everything in the game and trying to think of what's the best use. You get 12 turns. How can I best use my turns to score the most points? Now, the one thing, say, dislike about the game is that some games, it's really tough on the resources. If you haven't built up your lantern cards, and with all these resources, sometimes you are just really struggling to find how can I get the resources, especially the pearls, if I want to go up the castle, or how can I get extra food so I can score bigger, or I found that you're always sort of running after resources. Now, they do have a thing down here that you can trade in 2 of these seals for 1 resource. So if you do have lantern cards with seals and you're gathering lots of seals, it is one way where you can get resources because you can only hold a total of 10 coins or seals. I also really like the addition of these, especially in the second round. Sometimes in the first round, not many people went to the castle, but in the second round, you're really wanting to move up. And if there's not the lanterns to remove from there, by being able to swap places, gives you the opportunity to still do what you want to do. So overall, as I said, I've really enjoyed White Castle Duel. So let me know if you have played this game and what you think of it.